Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be covering a topic that I get a lot of questions about, and that is whether or not someone should become a CNA prior to becoming a nurse. Whether or not they should get their CNA certification prior to entering a nursing program or even pursuing a career as a registered nurse or a LPN. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So just using myself as an example, I became a CNA when I was 18 years old. And from the age of 18 to the time I became a nurse at 23, I worked under a CNA license. And during that time, I worked both in an assisted living setting and home health. I never had a chance to do nursing home or the hospital. But when I did become a nurse, I worked in a SNF and I worked in a hospital. A SNF is a skilled nursing facility, aka nursing home. So I was able to see things from different perspectives. Now, I'm going to start with the pros of being a CNA before you become a nurse. The number one thing that I got from being a CNA prior to becoming a nurse is being exposed to the healthcare setting. A lot of people, believe it or not, during the time that they are a CNA, that is the time that they realize that nursing is not for them. That changing briefs is not for them. That blood, the gore, none of that is for them. They can't do it. They can't handle it. The pressure, the first time they saw somebody pass, they realized this wasn't for me. So I feel like you working as a CNA is kind of like a precursor sometimes for you to realize if this is really for you, especially if you're on the fence or you're not sure if the healthcare setting is for you. I hear a lot from CNAs who tell me all the time, listen, I've been a CNA for 20 years and I can tell you right now, I would never be a nurse. And they gave me all the reasons why they could not be a nurse. So yes, being exposed to that setting definitely gives you a different perspectives and make you kind of see if this is what you really want prior to you investing all that time, money, and energy into getting into a nursing program. Another pro of working as a CNA prior to becoming a nurse is it actually does kind of help you when you are in the classroom. But that one is a double-sided sword, and I will elaborate. The one class that I will say that working as a CNA helped me with in nursing school was Nursing Fundamentals. Yes, that class, which to me was basically the way my school structured it, was like a CNA class. You learned how to turn patients. You did those 20 skills that I had to learn when I was a CNA, like turning, making beds, helping with Foley's, all of that I was exposed to when I worked as a CNA in assisted living and other settings that I worked at. So I kind of had a better grasp on it, and when my teacher was lecturing, not everything that she was talking about was a foreign concept because of that. Now, as far as med-surg, pharmacology, psych, nothing. Because that's not what I was exposed to. And even if I did work around that environment, that was not in my job description. One of the misconceptions that some student nurses have is that they feel like if they become a CNA and they go and work in the healthcare field, such as a hospital, then they're basically going to be like little mini student nurses running around and doing assessments on their patients or learning pharmacology. That is not what you are being hired for. So that is something that you need to put in the back of your mind. You are hired basically to assist with activities of daily living. You are hired to do the work of a CNA. You are not being hired to do the work of a student nurse. So just keep that in mind. If you are going to be working, say, in a nursing home, you are not going to be in a nursing home doing AccuChecks, doing head-to-toe assessments on your patients. But you will be exposed to patients who may have COPD, so you can see firsthand what a patient with COPD looks like, how they breathe, the signs and symptoms of it. A patient with CHF, heart failure, you will get a better idea of that general population. Those are the things that you will get out of being a CNA that may help you in your nursing program. Now, some CNAs actually go on and become patient care techs in the hospital setting. Now, I know that description varies from different states and different hospitals, but for the ones that are by me in Florida, I live in Florida, a patient care tech, especially one that works in the emergency room, is able to do blood draws, they're able to do AccuChecks, and they're able to do a little bit more than your typical CNA would do, say, in a nursing home or a home health setting. And that is because you receive on-the-job training within your facility and you are able to complete these tasks only within that facility. Now that's a double-edged sword too. And I've seen this pitfall happen to so many CNAs when I was in nursing school and also some of my friends. What you are able to do when you work as a patient care tech or a CNA in whatever setting you are working in may not always be what is allowed in NCLEX world. When you are taking your tests, I'll give you an example. I had a friend of mine who worked as a patient care tech in an emergency room setting. There, he was able to draw blood, he was able to assist with thoracotomies, don't ask me why, and just do a lot of things that you would not typically find that would be in a nursing world question, answer, any of that. And he took what he was able to do in his job and kind of put it and tried to apply it when he was taking his exams in school. That didn't really work out for this individual. So just kind of keep that in mind. You need to be able to differentiate the difference between what you are doing in your job setting and what you are learning in school. And you need to be able to know the difference. You need to be able to know what you are able to do, what an LPN in NCLEX world is able to do versus what you see the LPNs at your facility doing. You get what I'm saying? So you kind of just need to be mindful of that. Do not always think that it is okay to apply what you are learning in what you are seeing in your job to what you are learning in the classroom setting. The other pitfall that I find that sometimes I see nursing students fall into when they're working as CNAs is just putting way too much emphasis on the clinical part and not focusing on learning how to answer NCLEX questions. Once you become a nurse, you will have all the time in the world to develop your skills. Not saying that you should go and graduate and be a nurse and get your license, pass your NCLEX, and not even know how to listen to a heart sound or listen to lungs. But your number one priority once you are in nursing school should be learning how to answer NCLEX questions and pass your NCLEX. You can be the best hands-on person. You can know all the facts from here to Z and just be great at assessing and having the best nursing intuition. But if you do not know how to answer NCLEX questions, if you don't know how to do dosage calculations, if you don't know how to develop critical thinking skills, those are not things that you are going to learn while you are working as a CNA and on the floor. Those are the things that you are going to learn by doing your NCLEX questions, by having your study groups, by reading case notes, by doing all the work that is necessary, by doing all the work that your teachers are putting in front of you when you are in nursing school. So just also please keep that in mind. Whew, that's a lot of information. Skills that you also learn while you are working as a CNA, working with nurses, learning chain of command, understanding what you would go and have to report to your nurse. Those are questions I actually ask you on your NCLEX. Okay, back to what I was saying. So one of the things that you also, an important skill that you do develop when you work as a CNA is just working in a healthcare setting and understand the chain of command, recognizing when things are an emergency. I guarantee you the first time that you see a patient that has signs and symptoms of hypoxia and who ends up, passing out and having to have a code called and all of that, you will remember forever what those signs and symptoms are, and you would be able to relate that to your questions, and you will be able to piece those pieces together when you're doing med surg and you're learning about these different things. But I want you to understand, and I want all nursing students to understand, when you are a CNA, you are working as a CNA, you need to focus on that job title. I cannot be a nurse and I'm in med school and think that I'm going to be working as a doctor in a hospital. You get what I'm saying? If your job is to work as a CNA in the hospital, then maybe that is the time where you need to practice perfecting your vital skills. Identifying what vital skills are abnormal, because that is part of your job description. Recognizing what things you should be reporting to your nurse, because those are questions that you see on your NCLEX. Those are skills that you can develop as a CNA. But please do not become a CNA and be so engulfed and focused in your job that you don't forget at the end of the day what you are in school for, and that is to become either an LPN or an RN. So anyways, that was my rant. That was me preaching to everybody who's out there who's contemplating whether or not they should go to school and be a CNA. I definitely would recommend it. It's not something that I would discourage, but just look at things objectively. Think about the points that I just made, and hopefully this will help you make a better decision. I would never discourage anybody from becoming a CNA prior to becoming a nurse. Like I said, I was a CNA before I became a nurse, and I do feel like it did help me in my nursing program. And there are skills that I learned as a CNA that I can still use today. And I feel like when I became a nurse, I was able to put those to use. I know how to delegate a lot better. I know how to speak to my CNAs. I know how to treat them with respect. I understand. I have empathy for what they do because I was once in their shoes and I know how hard they work. So all those skills I was able to develop, and I feel like I'm able to bring that with me working as a nurse, and I feel like that makes me a better nurse. So that is the end of my video. I hope that you all enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of it. And for those out there who are kind of on the fence, debating of whether or not they should go the CNA route, if they should go ahead and be a PCT, yes, do it. But please, don't forget what your focus is, and that is to complete your nursing program and pass your NCLEX and become a nurse in the process. Thank you. And the next thing that I'm going to say is very important, and I want student nurses to really think about this, and also for CNAs who are currently working in the field and who want to be nurses, and that is simply this. The quality of care that you deliver to your patients and to your residents or to your clients does not change when you become a nurse. If you are the type of CNA that does not enjoy your job, if giving care to patients is not really something that you care about, that it's more like a job to you, you don't feel like it's a calling, you don't feel like it's something that you genuinely enjoy doing, or it's something that you go home and you feel fulfilled and you feel like you made a difference, do not think that this is going to change once you get your nursing license. The same person and the same feelings that you're feeling now as a CNA is going to be the same feelings that you feel once you become a nurse. So that's just something that, it's a message that I always want to convey, and I always think about that because I've worked with people who were CNAs and they became nurses, and to be completely honest with you, their work ethic never really changed. And at the same time, those same CNAs that I worked with, such as myself, who used to bust their butts giving the best care that they can give, making a fourth of what they're making now, or a third, or even a fifth of what they're making now, the way that they cared for their patients and their residents never altered. That it doesn't matter what they were getting paid or what they were doing, that they still gave it that they're 100%. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. That's all I wanted to add. Oh yes, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope to see you soon. And if you guys have any other recommendations or videos that you would like me to make, that you have questions about, please don't forget to leave your comments in the comment box below. And don't forget, of course, to follow my page. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, and God bless.